Hello lads, ladies and ladders, welcome to my new video. Guys, I'm like an official YouTuber now because I have like an intro thing. Look at me go, lads, ladies and ladders, because I got bored in class and I was trying to figure out what the gender neutral version of lads and ladies were. So ladders, guys. Anyway, today I'm answering a bunch of random questions because I have questions that I want answered, and I asked some of you guys, and you guys also have questions that you wish to be answered. And so that's what I'm doing today. What a creative idea for a video. I know, right, guys? I am certified genius over here. Okay, so the thing that started this all is me. Crazy, I know, who would have thought? But I was watching a Hank Green show, and he was talking about, like, the ownership, because when you say for fuck's sake, pardon my language, but, the apostrophe, I know my grammar, guys, I do English, 100% real, but he was talking about, like, the ownership, and he's like, oh, it's a bastardization of for Christ's sake, and that's why it's, like, the ownership, because Christ owns the sake. Anyway, but it got me wondering about for Pete's sake, because who is Pete? Why was that a thing? And so, it started off with for Christ's sake. But because back in the oldie days, everyone got scared and you shouldn't use the Lord's name in vain. So they changed it, and because people didn't want to say, like, for Christ's sake, because it was, like, a curse. Anyway, so they changed it to Pete, although, like, there were some other variations, of course. But they changed it. Okay. Goodness gracious, I am struggling today, but basically what happened was, it was speculated that people saw St. Peter when, he's lesser than Christ, so we can say for Pete's sake, and it won't be bad. Also, there's a for Pete's sake day. There's a day for Pete's sake on February the 26th. Do with that what you will. I don't know what I'm going to do with that information, but yeah. Also, Pete is pretty famous. He's in, like, a couple other idioms as well. Like, for the love of Pete. So basically, if you have any for the love of God or for Christ's sake, whatever, just put Pete in there. He's perfect fit, right? Yeah. That was a really anticlimactic answer to who is Pete and is he alright? But now you guys know, and now I know. And I spent like an hour researching for that much information, because there truly is nothing. If anyone finds a better reason, please tell me, because is it literally just St. Peter? Because that's so boring. Ugh. Anyway, the next question I had was about glow-in-the-dark stuff, like the glow-in-the-dark stars and the glow-in-the-dark other things. So, I wanted to know, does glow-in-the-dark stuff glow all the time? I mean, you know that it glows in the dark. Obviously, I already thought it didn't, because, you have to, like, charge up the glow-in-the-dark stuff, or else it doesn't glow. Like, if you have a glow-in-the-dark thing in the drawer, you pull it out in the dark, it's not going to start glowing, because it hasn't been, like, light. Anyway, so, glow-in-the-dark stuff works by absorbing light energy, and then later emitting it as visible light in the dark. This is called phosphorescence. I nearly got it. I'll put the word up, because phosphorescence. Close enough. Anyway, as a material absorbs a photon of light, it transfers the energy to an electron to move from stable ground energy to an excited energy state. Phosphorescent materials have an atomic structure that has a mechanism called intersystem crossing. This basically shifts the electron into a slightly lower energy level, which is called a triplet state. As an excited electron gets trapped in this state, it has to slowly overcome the energy barrier. And, as it does this, they release the stored energy as visible light. So, I was right. You have to charge up a glow-in-the-dark thing by shining light photons on it, and then the light photons will get trapped, and in the dark, it will slowly get released by overcoming the energy barrier. That one, I feel like it's a bit more interesting than for Pete's sake. Do you agree or do you agree? You agree, because for Pete's sake was incredibly boring. I don't care about St. Peter. I wanted something interesting, like some guy who fell off a cliff. I don't know. Pete is so disappointing, guys. Not to hate on Pete, But I really hate Pete. Pete, ew. Run away. We hate Pete. No, we don't hate Pete. We love Pete. Pete is a vibe. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. Is St. Peter real? Hold on. I need to Google. Is St. Peter real? A new question. Well, the AI overview said, yes, historians generally agree. Like Glee Club? No, agree that a real historical figure named Simon lived in the 1st century. Well, that's great. I don't want to know about Simon. Why am I learning about Simon? Hold on, Wikipedia. Oh. Well, the Wikipedia says born and died and parents and spouse. He was a fisherman. That's captivating. He's a feast day? That's cool, I think. Okay, so St. Peter did exist. I don't know why AI was telling me about Simon. I don't care about Simon. This is why we don't trust the AI overview, guys. They don't even give you what you want. Alrighty, so this question does not come from me. It comes from one of my friends over on Le Tumblr. Lupinioracle 2. Because what happened to 1, we don't know. But Lupinioracle 2. And they asked, I often wonder what nebulas feel like to walk through. I also found this very interesting question. So, I will preface this. I don't think I really got a definitive answer, but I learned some cool things about nebulas, and now you guys get to as well. So, a nebula means cloud or mist. Obviously, it comes from Latin because everything comes from Latin. But there are 4 types of nebula. A diffuse nebula, and they have a very loose shape. A planetary nebula. Can you guess why? Whoa. It has the appearance of planets. Crazy. And they are formed around stars in their final stages of life. So, like, our solar system is a nebula, I think. Don't quote me on that. Supernova remnants, and that's the remains of an exploded star. RIP star, you would have loved Chapel Roan. Number 4, dark nebula, which appear as dark silhouettes against the stars. Also, fun fact, the Great Orion Nebula is a nebula. I know, who would have guessed? It's literally in the name. But I didn't know that. And it can be seen by the human eye. Also, really cool, the dark nebulas are like holes in space. And there's one in Australia, the Coalsack Nebula. It's like, I think it's the Milky Way, but there's a hole in it, and indigenous people thought it looked like an emu, which is cool, and it is so pretty. Anyway, none of that answers the question of what they feel like. But Reddit, my Lord and Savior, Reddit, has the answers. Pretty much, they're just less dense than a vacuum, so it would have less pressure than Earth's atmosphere. I don't actually know what that means, but if you walk through a nebula, there's probably some bigger questions going on, like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Why are you walking through a nebula? But yeah, now you know stuff about nebulas. I hope that answers your... I know it doesn't, but I hope that answers your lesson? Question? Lord. I hope that answers your question, Lupin. It was pretty interesting to research, though. I have another question from one of my friends, Space Anchovy. Very cool guy. Are there any blood issues in zero gravity? Now, immediately after Googling this, I got a bunch of issues. Space amnesia, heart atrophy, orthostatic intolerance, weakened immunity, and blood clot. Not a surprise, you're in zero gravity. That's why being an astronaut is dangerous. One of the many reasons. But I have a more in-depth description for you all. So, as you enter microgravity, as there is always gravity, there's no such thing as zero gravity, just very little gravity. Your blood and other fluids get pushed up in your body, so like to your heart and your head. Obviously, that is very not good. It causes swelling in the face and head and a decrease in the amount of fluid in the heart and blood vessels. And during extended microgravity missions, the cardiovascular system, brain, eyes, and other neurological functions are affected. The increase in fluid within your skull increases brain pressure, which, spoiler alert, not great. And the increased pressure in your brain can cause hearing loss, brain edema, and deformation of the eye. Something also interesting happens to your heart. It changes shape. So usually your heart is like roughly oval shaped, and then it goes into like a round bowl. Also probably not good, because that changes, like, the pressure and, like, your I don't know, aorta. I did science at one point. Anyway, as I mentioned before, space causes atrophy to the muscles that on Earth constrict blood vessels, which causes a lack of controlled blood flow. Also, apparently, your skeleton, like your actual bones, start to deteriorate, as well as its latent viruses, which is a virus that establishes dormancy in a host cell without actively replicating or producing new particles. So latent viruses can be activated during space missions. This is like a tongue twister, guys. So many S's. God, the sibilance is insane. Low pressure also causes a rapid deoxygenation, which is a risk upon re-entering Earth's atmosphere. I also have this image from Wikipedia of like the effects of microgravity on the fluid distribution around the body. Obviously, it's exaggerated. You don't turn into like Dorito Man. Anyway, whilst looking at the Wikipedia page, I also got distracted by this section, and it just said children, and I was very confused. Like, obviously no children have been going to space, but apparently there's an ongoing debate about the morals of raising children in a non-terrestrial environment. I didn't even know that was an option. Why are we debating raising children in space? I feel like it would be very cool to like study how the body adapts to it, but I also feel like that's probably not a good thing and we shouldn't do that. It feels very Truman Show core, constantly watching a poor child as they grow up, you know? Anyway, I hope that answers your question, Anjali. I have another question from one of my friends, Boo the King, icon, legend. Go check them out, they're really cool. Anyway, Boo asked, is skin digestible? I would assume so, yes, and the simple answer is yes, skin is digestible. That's why you can eat like chicken skin and like pork skin and fish skin and whatever. Because skin is made up of collagen, which is easily broken down when you eat it and it's digested, and it turns into amino acids. However, that doesn't mean you should be eating a lot of like skin, because it's still pretty tough and not that great for you. The skin you end up ingesting of yourself is probably like just dead skin from like biting your nails or something. But if you're like compulsively eating your skin, I fear you should probably see someone, because that sounds like an issue. Hopefully you're not compulsively eating your skin. Anyway, that was a really interesting one and really hard. Genuinely, it was so hard to find something that wasn't just a link to go get help for eating like your hair or something. Like, genuinely, it was so hard finding a website. I hate when I Google something and then they send me a helpline. I'm fine. I'm just researching for a YouTube video. Calm down, guys. I'm fine. Probably. Righty. I think this is the last question. Yeah, this is the last question, and this was really interesting. So, my question was, what was the first museum? Because I love museums and I want to know how long they've been around. So, the first museum was called Enigaldi Nana's Museum. I don't think that's what it was actually called, but that's what we call it now, as we have discovered it. It was found in Iraq and is said to have been established around 530 BCE. So, wait, is that before Christ or after Christ? What? Which one is BCE, guys? BCE. Before Common Era, yes. Oh, did they change it? I thought it was like before Christ and after Christ. Like BC and then ACB. Huh? I don't even know what I'm on about. Anyway, so it was said to have been like established around 530 BCE. So the creator of the museum was Enigaldi Nana, the daughter of the last king of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, Nabonidus. I can say his name, sure. So, she was a princess. Oh, how lovely. Anyway, so, as well as being a princess, she was also a priestess at the temple of the moon deity. I couldn't find what the moon deity was called. All I could find was moon deity. So, probably not Artemis, because I don't think Greece existed yet. Don't quote me on that. All I know is Rome wasn't built in a day, guys. Anyway, so it is estimated to be the first public museum in the world. And it was discovered in 1925 when an archaeologist was excavating portions of the palace and temple complex, because they were right near each other. And he found many artifacts organized like neatly side by side with ages varied by century, so obviously not something that would have been together originally. And the unusual placement, and also they had little placards, like museum labels with 3 different languages written on them, with one of the languages being Sumerian, which is the world's first known language. And also, as well as this having the world's first known language and being the first museum, Nabonidus is also known as the first serious archaeologist, so probably where Anagaldi got her interest in the past was her dad. Anyway, that was a really interesting to look into, because apparently they've been around, what's 2026 plus 530? I can do this. 2,526 plus 30, 2,556 years is how old the first museum. That's a long time. That's like 2,556 years. Yeah, anyway, that was a really interesting one, but that was the last question. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of the video. Sorry you had to stick through my multiple fumbles. I can talk, I promise, sometimes. Anyway, what I was drawing in this video was my commission for the one and only Robin Bobbin, because yes guys, you heard it here first. Well, maybe not first, but I have commissions. I have opened a Ko-fi, which I'll put a link in the description, and for Pride Month, 20% off, so you can support. You can support me, a local gay. Please support me. I'll love you forever. Anyway, I also have my ACG Goods store open, which I was making stuff for in the last video, and I'm working on making some new keychains and things to put out, so that'll probably take a while because life is a lot. But keep an eye out for that. And if you want to see more of me and my fun, amazing content, because I'm an amazing guy, so humble, I stream usually every Saturday and Sunday around 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, so Google what time that is for you, so you can come and join in, because it's a lot of fun. Chat likes to torture me, specifically Onik. That one time, she banned the word I for 5 minutes. That was a struggle. It's very hard. Anyway, check out my Tumblr if you want to see more of my art, because I do post there consistently. And Art Fight. I'm doing Art Fight again this year. I am Team Mystery because it's such a pretty colour. Genuinely, the only reason I chose it was for the colour, but we don't talk about that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for making it to the end of this video, and I hope you all have an amazing day. See you in the next one. Bye!